Hello everybody, welcome back to another weather video. Today I'll be talking about Hurricane Ian as it heads its way towards Florida, and after that it will head into either the Carolinas or into Georgia, then the interior of the United States. Right now we have the infrared up right now. This is Hurricane Ian. As you can see, it started out here and the latest frame is here, so it's moving north-northeast at about 10 miles an hour towards Florida. And it looks like to hit near Saratoga or just south of that near Naples. Yesterday it looked like it was just going to be offshore Tampa making landfall in the Panhandle. This morning it looked like it was going to make landfall in Tampa, and now it looks like to make landfall near or just south of Saratoga. The reason why it shifted so much is because the storm came off of Cuba. Oop, sorry about that. The storm came off of Cuba. Why is it doing that? The storm came off of Cuba, right? And instead of going straight north, it started wiggling north-northeast to where it is now, and it looks like to continue that right into, once again, the Saratoga region. As of right now, as of 6:07 p.m., there is an eye wall replacement going on at the northwest side. You can see you have your darker colors and some pinks and whites mixed in to the higher cloud tops. This means it's colder up top in the thunderstorms, and that means it is stronger. You see, you have that on the southern and eastern side, and on the northwestern side, you really don't have that anymore. This is because it's going through an eye wall replacement cycle. This means that the storm is gonna not strengthen for a little bit, but once it completes the eye wall cycle, the storm is gonna expand its wind field, so tropical storm and hurricane force winds are gonna increase in distance and radius. And after it's done with the eye wall replacement cycle, it is going to start to strengthen a little bit before it makes landfall in western Florida. Now, this is the 5 p.m. advisory. I'm not sure if the 6 p.m. advisory came in yet, but it looks like to make landfall as a major hurricane. Cuba has been dropped from a hurricane warning to tropical storm warning. As you can see, the yellow is the radius of the tropical storm field, and it is still on Cuba. As it At 2 p.m. Wednesday, it looks like to be just off the coast of western Florida. And then on 2 a.m. Friday, you notice how tight these are. This is 2 p.m. Wednesday to 2 a.m. Friday. Notice how it hasn't really moved that much compared to here. This is one day, and then this is one day from here to here. That's not a lot. The storm could stall out or at the very least slow down eventually, as you can tell here by the closer clusters of these circles. It's going to slow down, dropping torrential rainfall, Tampa, Saratoga, even depending on the track. It really all depends on the track here. If it wants to go up here, right over Tampa, Tampa would get extreme storm surge, which I will show you in a minute, all the storm surge and rain totals. If it wants to go down south, just south of Tampa by Saratoga, Saratoga would not get the worst rain, but it would get the worst wind and surge, and Tampa would get the worst rain. If it wants to take the track towards Tampa, Tampa would get the worst surge and wind, but neither Saratoga or Tampa would get the worst rains. Then after that, it looks like it's going to go through Florida, come offshore a little bit. I think it's going to take a track like this, more eastern side. That's been the trend with this storm. It's been on the eastern side of the cone. Ever since it came on Cuba, the trend for this storm has been going more right to the eastern side of the cone, and I think that will continue. So I think South Carolina should really look out here because it could definitely re-strengthen. I don't think it will become a major hurricane unless it takes an extreme eastern track like this, goes offshore, and then back up into North Carolina. If this track were to happen, then they could definitely re-strengthen into a major hurricane. But as of right now, I don't see that happening. But based off the National Hurricane Center's track here, you can tell it goes over water briefly and then back into Georgia and South Carolina border, but I think it'll take more of a track out here. By 2 p.m. Sunday, they have a depression in northwestern parts of South Carolina. This is going to be a big rainmaker for the southeast and southern mid-Atlantic as I show you the precipitation totals right here. You can see this pink is 15 to 20 inches. That includes Tampa, Orlando, and just south of Jacksonville. This is due to the storm making landfall right about here. And it's going to take a track, maybe, no, not like that, I'm sorry. It's going to take a track into South Carolina and then eventually give South, North Carolina, and Georgia all the heavy rain. And if you want to go to the storm surge, just give me a moment here. Peak storm surge, you can see back by Charlotte Harbor, 8 to 12 feet. Tampa, 4 to 6 feet. This all shifted south today. Tampa was in the 5 to 10 feet before. Now it is in the 4 to 6. So if you're in Tampa, that's a big sigh of relief. But notice this little shelf here. You got a shelf right along here. Any water that goes into Western Florida specifically is going to have a hard time getting out because it is only 50 feet deep around here. I don't know the exact placement of this. I could be 100% wrong, but I know it is only 50 feet deep. So once you have these 8 to 12 foot storm surge coming in, it really doesn't have anywhere to go. It has to go onshore, causing flooding, mixing with freshwater flooding, which freshwater flooding is rain. And imagine this: you have 15 to 20 inches of rain, right? And then possibly 8 to 12 feet of storm surge. You can't really get worse than that. Plus, you have extreme winds going on. I'll pull up the wind speed probabilities for a hurricane, and you can see here, going 108. This is probably where it's going to make landfall, right here. That's the spot that's going to have 8 to 12 storm foot storm. I'm sorry, 8 to 12 feet of storm surge with the immense amount of rain, 10 to 15, 15 to 20 range. And here's the flash flooding potential. High, at least 70% chance of rain flooding here. Anywhere from Jacksonville, Orlando to Tampa Bay in the pink. This is day 1. Oh, I'm sorry. This is over the next 3 days. This is day 1. Okay, so I'll just show it to you over here. This is day 1. The red is moderate. And the second day, you can see near Tampa and Orlando, you get the increase of a high risk of flooding. And then throughout Friday morning, that area shifts a little bit north. But then again, it really doesn't matter. The damage will be done, and it won't be pretty at all. Now, this is the latest hurricane track guidance here. You could see most of them take it just into the Saratoga region, where a few of them take it into Tampa, a few of them take it a little bit more south. The southern solutions take it offshore a little more, then into South Carolina. The in-between area, so by Saratoga, take it a little bit offshore, but that back into Georgia and South Carolina. And the ones that take it into Tampa don't even take it offshore, just take it through Florida into Georgia. Now, once it gets to here, it will definitely be extratropical, but I don't think it would just dissipate. There should be another short wave coming through. This is in a little bit of the longer range. And you can see, I wouldn't say heavy precipitation, maybe like an inch, maybe 2, into some parts of the mid-Atlantic, maybe a little bit more north, depending if what track does pan out to happen. Let's say a track like this happens. Just for example here, some parts in Northeast, especially by Pennsylvania, Maryland, I know Maryland isn't Northeast, but some parts of Northeast would definitely get into the heavier rain. Mid-Atlantic would 100% get into that heavier rain. And North and South Carolina would definitely be hit by, like, let's say survives off the coast as a Category 1 hurricane or a strong tropical storm. That's definitely intensify into a Category 1, maybe 2, depending on the favorability once it gets off of Florida. But I'm just spitting out random things. Let's say it might not even go over water once it hits Florida. It might stay inland, but as of right now, I do favor of a more off the coast of Florida track. And this is the latest GFS. I just want to show you real quick. It takes it just south of Tampa. It gives it the heaviest rain. I'll show the radar. You notice how the heaviest rain just sits over Tampa for so long. This heavy rain starts around 2 a.m. Wednesday and then continues all the way to about 2 a.m. Thursday. So 24 hours of heavy soaking rain. That is not something you want, especially if you live in that area. And then notice it does take it off the coast of Florida. Last run did not do that. See, there has been a progressive east shift in the last 3 months. So it's Central Florida, Northeastern Florida, and then extreme Northeastern Florida, and it's off the coast. The model that started all of this, Icon, has been doing this for a long time. So let's get it off the coast real quick. You can see it's been there for a while. The past at least 4 runs have been doing it. But this run really caught my eye because it really let it sit off the coast of Florida and then took it back into South Carolina. And this is the worst possible scenario. This would probably be strong category 2, weak category 3. This is 100% one of the worst scenarios because you have your horrible wherever it's going to make landfall over here as a category 3, maybe category 4. And then you're going to have another landfall as a category 3. That plus the storm surge. Like this is 100% one of the worst scenarios because you have your storm surge. Look at the tight gradient. This, yeah. Do I think that would happen? Eh, a track like this could happen, but the intensity, it really all depends where it gets out of Florida. If it gets out of Florida here, that definitely won't happen. But if it gets out of Florida here, like the icon is showing, actually that's a little, yeah, pretty close. But if it gets off the coast around that area, that is definitely something to look out for. Now, I don't trust the HRRR, but if this is just short term, I just want to don't look at the intensity, look at more of the track. And if you take a look here, it takes it pretty much near Saratoga, and then it takes it off the coast of Florida. And I assume it would take it in a track like this or something. Now, one last thing I want to show you is the ensembles here. We're starting to get into that range where you got to start looking at the radar, which I will show in a moment here. I just want to look at the ensembles quick because I have not looked at them. This is run that happened right now. The 18Z is this run on the screen. This is 12Z and this is 6Z. So you can see there's, at least on the previous 2 runs, there is a clear shift to the east. And yeah, a lot of them do take it off the coast of Florida. So give me one moment, guys. I will pull up the radar loop and we'll take a closer look at Ian. And here is the radar currently for Ian at 6:22 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you want to look where the storm is, it is pretty much north of Cuba. And you have a lot of storm reports going on. Specifically near Homestead, you have almost a 5-inch reading from Ian, which that's pretty impressive regarding that the system isn't even near it or over it. You have 2.23 inches of rain near Baden Beach, and then also where on the western part of Florida and just south of Tampa, it is just starting to rain now. And once again, the storm is going to take a track like this near, what does that say? Cape Coral, or maybe even a little bit north towards Northport, or maybe even a little bit more south towards Naples here. Everything is still on the table from either, I would say, Tampa to Naples down here. Anywhere in one of these regions is going to get the landfall. That is it for today, guys. I hope if there is any Floridians watching this, I hope you all stay safe throughout this. Please This storm is not a joke. This is going to be one of the worst storms to hit Western Florida in a century, probably, maybe even in a decade. Who knows? We will definitely keep looking at this as the storm keeps coming. Landfall probably will happen sometime tomorrow, Wednesday afternoon, and then we will go from there. I hope everyone has a great day and stay safe.